It's Friday, 8 November. Welcome to the PDB Afternoon Bulletin. Okay, to be fair, it's the late afternoon bulletin. Again, my travel schedule. Apologies. I'm Mike Baker, your eyes and ears on the world stage. All right, let's get briefed. First, and here's some disturbing news. An anti-Israel mob organized a disturbing anti-Semitic attack targeting Jewish soccer fans in the Dutch capital of Amsterdam on Thursday, injuring dozens and prompting the arrest of 62 suspects. Then we're beginning to learn more about Trump's foreign policy priorities for his second term, with sources close to the president-elect saying that Iran is squarely in his sights as he prepares for a, quote, maximum pressure campaign against the mullahs. Well, to be fair, they have been trying to assassinate him. But first, our afternoon spotlight. We begin in Amsterdam, where a mob of anti-Israel protesters organized what the mayor called anti-Semitic hit-and-run squads, targeting Jewish soccer fans attending a Europa League match between Ajax and Maccabi Tel Aviv. Now, the violence erupted Thursday evening after the match was wrapped up, when an anti-Semitic mob, allegedly riled up by calls on social media to target Jewish people, well, they're actually riled up because they're anti-Semitic and they're violent. They began indiscriminately attacking hundreds of Israeli fans as they left the stadium. That's according to a report from the Associated Press. The attacks were widespread and appeared to be well organized, with assailants on scooters and on foot crisscrossing the city in search of fans of the Israeli team. The attackers punched, kicked, and pelted the victims with rocks and fireworks before quickly fleeing on their scooters to evade police. Nothing like a pack of anti-Semitic mobsters fleeing on scooters. As the chaotic scene unfolded, Amsterdam's mayor posted in a Telegram group saying, quote, "There's a talk of people going on a, quote, Jew hunt that is so shocking and so despicable that I still cannot fathom it," end quote. Video footage showed the mobs shouting anti-Israeli slurs and "Free Palestine" as they relentlessly beat their victims. One clip shows a helpless victim lying on the ground as he's repeatedly kicked. Another reportedly shows a car mowing down a victim who was sent flying over the hood. Now, is it just me? Or wouldn't it be relevant for the Dutch authorities to release information about those who were arrested? I mean, who are they? Where are they from? And what associations do they have with either known fascist or neo-Nazi groups or with Islamic extremist organizations? I mean, there's not many options for who might be going on a Jew hunt. Transparency is called for here, rather than worrying about the privacy of those committing this atrocity. 5 of the victims were treated in local hospitals for their injuries and later released, while another 20 to 30 Israelis suffered what were described as light injuries. Leaders in Jerusalem dispatched 2 rescue planes to Amsterdam to evacuate the soccer fans back to Israel. As of Friday afternoon, the first flight carrying Israelis landed back at Ben Gurion Airport, and Israel's foreign minister said all Israelis in the Dutch capital were now safe and accounted for. The Israeli National Security Council urged Israelis still in Amsterdam to avoid the streets and refrain from wearing any visible Jewish or Israeli symbols in the wake of the attack. Oh, look, it's the 1930s all over again. Dutch authorities arrested at least 62 suspects over the course of the night, though as of Friday, listen to this, only 10 are still being held in custody. Really? Really? 52 of the 62 arrested have been released already? Israelis on the ground said that Dutch police were slow to respond and offered little assistance as the attacks unfolded. One victim described being hit in the head with a rock as he left the stadium, causing light bleeding. He and a friend were then chased by a group of Arab men, oh, well, we might have a clue there, before they managed to grab a taxi back to their hotel, where they took shelter. The fan told the AP, quote, "I'm very scared. It's very striking. This shouldn't happen to anyone, specifically in Amsterdam. Well, frankly, anywhere." The attacks struck a blow against Amsterdam's image as a city of tolerance for persecuted religions. Condemnations of the anti-Semitic violence poured in from across Europe, and police are said to be working to beef up security at Jewish sites across the city. A spokesman for the police said the investigation is ongoing, but it was too early to determine if further attacks were planned across the broader community. Well, here's a thought. maybe they could have held on to all of those who were arrested rather than releasing the vast majority, and then interviewed them until they had more insight into possible other plans. Amsterdam's mayor called it, quote, a very dark moment for the city, for which I am deeply ashamed, end quote. We should note, the incident coincided with the 86th anniversary of Kristallnacht, the Nazi pogrom that led to the widespread massacre of Europe's Jewish population. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu called the attacks horrifying and demanded that Dutch authorities bring swift justice against the perpetrators. I wonder if he knew that most of them had already been released. Speaking on Friday, Netanyahu said, quote, tomorrow, 86 years ago, was Kristallnacht, when Jews on European soil were attacked for being Jews. This has now recurred. There is one difference now, though. The Jewish people now have their own state, end quote. He added, quote, the harsh pictures of the assault on our citizens in Amsterdam will not be overlooked. All right, coming up, we're beginning to learn more about Trump's foreign policy priorities for his second term, with sources close to the president-elect saying that Iran is squarely in his sights. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the Afternoon Bulletin. Donald Trump is reportedly planning to take aim at Iran when he re-enters office in January. Well, that seems fair since they've been taking aim at him, with sources close to the president-elect describing plans to implement a, quote, maximum pressure campaign against the Islamic regime. According to an exclusive report from the Wall Street Journal, Trump will begin by drastically increasing sanctions on Iran, particularly those aimed at their oil exports, as part of a broader strategy to choke off the regime's financial and military support of terrorist proxies throughout the region. This will reportedly include going after foreign ports and traders who do business with Iran, which they hope will further isolate the regime diplomatically and undermine their ability to fund violence through their so-called axis of resistance. The finer details of the plan remain scarce at the moment, but Trump is reportedly looking to recreate aspects of his first-term strategy against Iran, which saw the U.S. pull out of the Iran nuclear deal, known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, and target key financial interests of the regime. An anonymous former White House official told the Journal, quote, I think the perception is that Iran is definitely in a position of weakness right now, and now is an opportunity to exploit that weakness, end quote. As we discussed earlier on the PDB, Iran is reportedly in a state of panic over Trump's imminent return, and, frankly, with good reason. The mullahs have been engaged in a years-long effort to assassinate Trump and members of his first administration over the killing of Iranian military commander Qasem Soleimani back in 2020. Mick Mulroy, the top Pentagon official for the Mideast in Trump's first term, told the Journal, quote, people tend to take that stuff personally. If he's going to be hawkish on any particular country, designated major adversaries, it's Iran, end quote. Friday afternoon, the Department of Justice unsealed new charges detailing how members of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, hired a 51-year-old Iranian national back in September to surveil and ultimately assassinate Trump. While the plot was thwarted, the IRGC had reportedly advised their asset to wait until after the campaign finished, assuming Trump would lose, and that it would then become easier to access the former president. In addition to these plots, Trump's second-term strategy has reportedly been influenced by Iran's role in instigating the past year of regional instability in the Middle East, which, of course, kicked off when their proxy Hamas launched their brutal 7 October attacks on Israel. Israel's routing of Hamas, as well as its rapid destruction of Iran's Lebanese proxy Hezbollah just 2 months ago, has deeply embarrassed Iranian leaders and exposed significant vulnerabilities within their security apparatus, which appears to have been extensively infiltrated by Israeli intelligence forces. Iran is still threatening to retaliate against Israel in their ongoing back and forth, though analysts have said that they might pivot from launching another missile strike on Israel given Trump's victory. According to the Journal's report, Brian Hook, a former U.S. State Department official who oversaw Iran policy during Trump's first term, is expected to once again take the lead on the issue when Trump returns to office. Hook has himself reportedly been a target of Iran's assassination plots and has been provided with full-time security by the U.S. government since Trump left office. Speaking to CNN on Wednesday, Hook criticized what he described as the Biden administration's, quote, policy of appeasement and accommodation with Iran, which he said led to a, quote, failure of deterrence and emboldened the mullahs. By contrast, Hook said, quote, President Trump understands that the chief driver of instability in today's Middle East is the Iranian regime, end quote. Well, he's not wrong. And that, my friends, is the PDB Afternoon Bulletin for Friday, 8 November. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me at pdb@thefirsttv.com. And as you may have heard, it's Friday. And of course, every Friday, a brand spanking new episode of our extended weekend show, the PDB Situation Report, hits the airwaves, 10 p.m. on the First TV, as well as on our much-loved YouTube channel, at President's Daily Brief. Check that out. And of course, all podcast platforms everywhere. This weekend, we've got terrific guests, and we're taking a close look at what U.S. foreign policy and national security might look like under the incoming Trump administration. I'm Mike Baker, and I'll be back over the weekend with the PDB Situation Report. Until then, stay informed, stay safe, stay cool.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment, a really positive, nice, and kind comment. That would be appreciated. And if you're not already subscribed to our channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our daily updates.